mai ki te whaiwhai o te āti o te titutahi. Ko mātou te ia, ko te ānau tamariki, e tō mātou au kua piki. E turo atu nei ki a koe. E tā mātou tawaine no te puki airani e no Aotearoa. Te āriki reka atu nei mātou i a koe. Turo, oro mai.
Kia ora, greetings and welcome to our ACOS Family Acrobat this afternoon. My name is Nikki Wiley and I am an in-school leader in the American School and part of ACOS Family Acrobat. This afternoon we are privileged to hear from two educators who will share their knowledge and experience with us. We are coming to you live from the American School in Auckland, New Zealand. You can take part in the discussion on Twitter using the hashtag ACOS01. I'd like to introduce our first speaker of the afternoon, Janine Irvine. As principal of the Pāngarau Park District School, she recently took a sabbatical to conduct research and further her own understanding of the effect that grouping has on children. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Janine.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really interesting. It's a privilege to be here. I'll start off by saying I am no expert, but I do want to stress how important your professional inquiries are. The last two inquiries I've done have been really pivotal for me moving forward, and I think it's always great to have a sabbatical, the opportunity for a sabbatical, but what I learned last year has been quite eye-opening to me, and I hope I challenge you in some of your thinking. I'm going to leave the maths side of it to Bobbie. She's the guru in that area. I was looking at flexible groupings, and so I want to talk this afternoon mainly around that topic. So you have to write this amazing thing to be accepted, and so it's full of really big words. But basically looking at the difference between ability grouping and flexible grouping to see whether it is important to have flexible grouping and how we put that into our programs. The reason I picked this, because we've been focusing on student agency like a lot of you have been in your schools in the last few years, and I know that our teachers in our school have been trying different things like non-negotiated learning, negotiated learning, workshops, etc. In 2017, we also made a point of introducing growth mindset explicitly in our school, and we are still rolling that out across our school, embedding it. However, I felt that in 2017, many of our teachers were still ability grouping, and after reading a little bit of Christine Ruby-Davies' work, I was convinced that ability grouping was doing damage to some of our children. And I wanted to test that theory out to see if I can find out a little bit more. So if you get a chance, this is a really great book to read. Becoming a High Expectation Teacher, Raising the Bar. And that's what I based a lot of my reading on, plus a lot of other research. And I also want to look at, obviously, if we're going to introduce PD into our school, what works, what doesn't work, learn from others, don't make the same mistakes if you can avoid them, make your own different ones, which we're going to do along the pathway, but at least try and avoid some that people have already found don't work. However, I started off by sending a survey out to all the principals in APPA, and what I soon found, the information that came back was not many schools were using flexible grouping. And there's been a whole lot of research, even before 2000, talking about it, and yet nothing has been embedded across schools that I can find. And also many principals and teachers were actually unfamiliar with the term, and we're confusing it with composite groups, finite groupings, cross-grouping, instruction, etc. As educators, I think we all approach our daily work to make a difference. And and to meet the needs of the kids in our classes. However, I'm going to argue that I believe a lot of things happen in our classrooms and in our schools are because of administrative convenience. And I think we actually do some harm to our children by carrying on doing the things that we've always done, that make it easy to manage schools, make it easy to manage our classrooms. And some examples of that is how we put children into year groups based on their ages. And if you think about it, it never happens again the rest of your life. We move through life and working with lots of different people of different ages, and we accept that as just normal day-to-day work life. And then when you get put into an old people's home, there's going to be different ages there. But why do we keep insisting on putting our children in the same year group? And boy, if you've got 18 months difference between the youngest and the oldest, you've got parents coming in and saying, I don't think my child should be in this class. There's some really young children or some really old children, and we seem to be fixated on that. And I think the way we group often hinders student agency. And I hope you might see that as we move forward. But like any change, I think we've got to do it carefully, and we don't rush into things because we want to embed it, and we want to make sure that we, using that old term, we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's lots of good things happening. So, reading this book, I found out in one of the first chapters that we actually carry around a lot of real subconscious biases as teachers in our classrooms. And I suffered from one of these. I had an older brother, and I had an older brother and an older sister. I was unfortunate to be the youngest one when I was going through school. And so in high school, I got there with the reputation of my brother. And it wasn't good. And so whenever I turned up into a class and the teacher taught my brother, I got told, oh, you're Wedge's sister, are you? Because everyone only uses their names in high school. And I can tell you now that didn't help the relationship that I forged with that teacher. Because I love my brother, and I didn't care if he had a few behaviour problems. I didn't want any teacher telling me that he wasn't a good person, and I didn't want to be judged the same way as my brother. The guy didn't even know me. The teachers didn't even know me yet, and they were already judging me. And we do that with lots of different things, in lots of different ways when children come into our class. And even what we find attractive. So we bond with children that we find attractive. It's scary when you start to think about it. We bond with children that have the same background to us. We bond with, or we have aversion to certain names. If you're ever trying to name your baby and you're a teacher, you will know that some names you're not going to go anywhere near because of the past experiences you've had with certain children with certain names. It rules out quite a few over the years the longer you've been teaching. And so these are all forms of conscious biases that we have. But guess what? The kids know we've got them. They work it out pretty quickly. And they tune into what we think of them without us having to say anything. And the trouble is, they then start to live up to our expectations. So if we have the child coming into our room that has got a reputation for having behaviour problems, then we are going to expect those behaviour problems, and 9 times out of 10, we're going to get them. If we are going to expect a child to be struggling, sometimes we can inadvertently just expect that, and that's what the child is going to give us. And children actually think if they're in the higher groups, they're valued more by the teacher. And there's a lot of research around that. And there was some research that Christine Davies looked at that actually showed that the expectations of lower ability for students decrease through the year while it increases for children that are also high. And a lot of that is because of their teachers' expectations or what the children believe those expectations are. And the scary thing, which I didn't realise, is we actually smile at children more that we think they're more capable. We give them more time to think, and we get them answer more, we give them more positive praise. And that's not my opinion, that's research. So it made me start to question what sort of teacher I was when I was in the classroom, because I've been out of it for a few years. But yeah, it was pretty, it really made me step back and just think about things and what we do and the influence that we have as teachers on the children of our classes. So why do teachers ability group? Well, I think it's because how we've been trained and done it for years. And most of us went out as beginning teachers and we got told how to organise your groups. It was one of the first things we did. Get your groups organised, start teaching your groups, and then things will come right part of management. Because you can't manage more than 3 or 4 groups. 3 are really good. If you've got 4, it gets a bit harder. More than that, you've got problems. And I think we're told that, and if we're told that, we learn to believe it over the years. And if we don't know there's a different way of approaching it, and we don't know what that looks like, and we don't know how to go about it, then we're not going to change. And we have to believe that we are going to be supported by school leaders if we try something differently. And they will help us through that journey. Okay, the ways that I believe we disadvantage children in ability groups is that I believe through no malice, it's through good intent, that teachers make children in lower ability groups prove themselves far more than children in higher abilities ever have to do. It's that you hear teachers say, just wait, I just want them to be really secure in it. I just want to make sure that they've got it before I move them on. Whereas a child that's in the middle to upper ability groups, they can get it once, yeah, they're right, I'll push them on. So these children are disadvantaged before they even start. Another reason they can be disadvantaged is they don't get the same quality of experiences and activities, the richness of it, that the children in the upper groups get. For example, if you are a child that all you're going to get to do is to cut up the text and put it back in the right order, and that's the staple diet and reading program, and yet these children over here are they're doing plays, doing all these exciting things, and exploring text in lots of different ways, and presenting it in different ways. You don't get the chance to actually prove that you can do something differently, or that you know some things that you aren't going to be able to do because you haven't been asked or to show it. And so children very quickly get pigeonholed into where they believe they sit in the hierarchy in the classrooms. And they know whether they're in the top, middle, or lower group, and I don't care what you give their names, and it seems to be the lower they get, the fancier name they get, but they work out really quickly. And the damage can be done to the top groups as well. If you look into Carol Dweck's work, she talks about if a child is told that they're gifted or are really, really good at something, and suddenly they come across something they don't know, well, what does that mean about them? That they question everything that they've been told, because they're told they should know everything, they're gifted. If they're told they persevere, or if they're told that they're really good at working things out, then it doesn't matter if you get something wrong, because it's not what defines them, but labels can define them. So we have to be, I believe, we have to be really careful in what labels we give children, because like I said before, it can affect their self-esteem and they begin to live up to the expectations that we place on them. So, way forward. What would happen if we didn't put children in ability groups from day one, or even in the first year? I think that we would unbalance their understanding of what's happened to them in the past. And I had an example of this, it was really timely. I had a girl come over to show me her writing sample today. And she'd done this lovely report writing, and she's relatively new to our class, to our school. And I said to her, "You're very good at writing, aren't you? This is a fantastic report. I really like all this information." And she showed me where she'd listed it all before she even started writing. And she said, "Yes, in my last private school, I was in the top group." And so I thought, okay, this is worth trying to see what she says since she's got to our school. And I said to her, "Okay, and what group are you in at our school?" And she said, "I don't know, but I'm good." So And I parallel that with an example of a year 6 class I went into 2 weeks ago. And I was just looking at maths, and I just go and say, oh, what are you working on today? And a boy turned to me and says, oh, they're working on this, but I'm working on this because I'm not in the top group. And I said, well, do you really want to be in the top group? Oh, yeah. But I said, there's always going to be someone above the top group. In life, there's always going to be someone that might know a little bit more than you. So it's not going to be the end when you get to the top group. There's someone that's always going to be a group above you and above you. It's more important about your journey and what you can strive for and you can learn along the way. So it was 2 different sort of things that actually clarified to me some of the things that came out of my sabbatical. I think the emphasis is going to be on engagement and effort. And in our schools, the emphasis will come off competition from our parents. And I think that you're all in the same sort of environment that we are in at Cornwall Park School, where parents are fixated on achievement. And again, I had this amplified to me, a parent that came in to see me last week, and they were concerned that their child had not made it from below expectation to expectation. And I said, well, how about we take the focus off that for a little while, and we actually look at what she's doing, because there's been huge steps that she's taken. Because when you think about the accelerated progress you need to make to go from one expectation to the next, then they're big gaps, and yet children make huge progress. And some of our children that actually struggle can make more progress in a year than a child that is above, and it gets lost. And that's why at our school we are really looking at going away from expectation and reporting against progressions. And that's the journey that we're going to start on next. Now, what I saw in classrooms on my sabbatical actually reinforced this. Children couldn't tell me what group they were in. They couldn't tell me their hierarchy in the class. And I think one of the most beautiful statements it made that I liked when I was looking around the schools was a child that said, oh, we're just good mathematicians. Now, that self-belief, that it doesn't matter who you are, in that class they are full of really good mathematicians. And I know that's what I would want my children to think that they were. I want them to think they're good readers, know that they can be successful. They've always got something else to learn, but they are good at what they are doing. And knowing, like I said, there's always the next step. And that growth mindset is evident in classes that operate like that, because it becomes on self-improvement in your own journey rather than hitting these marks in the sand and measuring yourself against other people. They also feel valued for what they brought to the task. They were all experiencing rich learning tasks, and they had a high level of student agency. And I saw a beautiful example in your class, when I was here, of a very capable child who got something wrong. And it was a chance for the others to realise that good mathematicians get things wrong, and there's learning in that. And by trying to be sometimes the fastest at getting to something, we can trip ourselves up with some of our thinking. And actually children that take a little bit longer and do things a little bit differently might expose some of that thinking. And children that, a comment that came through from teachers when I was going around classes is I heard more than once teachers that said, I never thought they were capable of that. They really showed me that they could do something that I just wasn't aware of, and they blew me away. I'm not saying that every child is going to be successful in everything they do in the flexible groupings, but they're getting exposed to good practice. If you never get to see what a good reader does, because you are in the bottom group and all your readers are struggling, how do you ever know what good readers do? If you are with a good reader and the teacher is pointing out the things that we're bringing out of the program, the things that they do to make them successful in reading, you can see a model that is not a teacher model, because student models are more effective for children. you can see a model that actually shows you can do something slightly differently and you will be successful. And it is really powerful, I believe anyway. And so I was really impressed with the high order thinking that was happening and the level of engagement. A lot of people are scared to try this because I think it's going to be really chaotic. And like anything that can be more chaotic, particularly has to be actually more organised than they are when something is structured, I believe, to make sure the children all know what they're doing, they understand what's been asked of them, they all have a role to play, an expectation that they're going to perform in the role that they've been given, and what I saw really reinforced that in the classes. They were consolidating and challenging other people's understanding, and the level of the teacher's content blew me away because you do need to know what you're looking for, and I'm sure Bobbie will possibly touch on this, that if teachers don't know what they're looking for, then you are going to miss those moments that you need to highlight when you come back to a plenary or to go over a problem to stand on. You need to know what the misconceptions are that children are finding in their work, and you have to look at that, be able to find the next steps of being able to pull out that as an example for children to know that when this group, or that you know that when this group shares, that that's going to add to the knowledge and the understanding that the other children have in the class, because that's the next step for them to be exposed to. And like I said, the teachers were really, they were sold. Once they had tried flexible grouping, and I know a lot of you have tried it, they are sold. However, I believe you can do it with a balance. You can do it with a balance of deliberate teaching of skills and with flexible grouping. The key is don't pigeonhole them from the beginning of the year. Don't make them believe that they're the labels you give them. You keep that information to yourself. When they come down on the mat, they might be with someone different, a different person, but that throws them. They aren't able to then say, oh yes, it's all the triangles or all the squares, because there's someone different in the group each time, or you haven't given them that label. So I do believe that balance is the way forward. I think especially if you are learning your way and trying these new things, you do have to have a base from which you can spring from. And I think if you understand the purpose of the lessons, and the research showed when I was doing this work, that if you're doing skills, facts, or procedure, yes, ability type grouping can be effective because you are doing a deliberate active teaching around a deliberate skill. But if you want to do a high level brainstorming or a high level problem solving task, then you really do need those mixed abilities to be able to make that as effective as it possibly can be. And the challenges that I felt came through were that the teacher's content knowledge, you really have to know your stuff, because you're going to miss too many opportunities if you don't. And also, that's why a lot of people feel confident with taking an ability group, because you dictate the pace. You dictate the content, you dictate what the children are going to be exposed to, and you dictate what the next steps are going to be. Whereas if you are using this flexible problem-solving approach, the children are going to come up with things that you might not expect, although I do know you can do a lot of planning around what might come out of the problem. School expectations and responsibility. As leaders, we have a real responsibility to make sure that we are not at odds with what you are trying to do. If we are expecting very formal type assessments and very formal type of timetables, then you're not going to be able to do what you need to do effectively. We need to support you when parents start questioning what's happening in the school, because a lot of parents, they measure quality by, they confuse formal with quality. They don't understand you can do something different to how they were taught and be really effective. And I think that's our biggest challenge, is educating our parents, because our children need to be exposed to different ways of doing things and different ways of learning things and yet our parents know what happened for them was successful for them, and they want to not take their chances with their children, so they want us to deliver the same type of program as they got as children themselves. And we are living in a different world, and we can't do that anymore. We have to allow our teachers to experiment completely differently and to assess differently. And it's one thing I say to my staff who are sick of me saying it, the one thing around assessment, you need to assess what you value as you fall into the track of valuing what you assess. So we need to go back and assess what we value as we start to value what we assess. And there's a lot of assessment out there that I would argue that we don't value very much and we don't use very much. So we've got to work out what is actually really important for our children, and we have to start assessing that. And we have to educate our parents with the information they're going to be getting about their children, again, that they look different to the above, at and below that they used to. So I just thought those two were probably really good sort of ending notes. I'm on the journey just like you are. I am not an expert in this field. I'm just started with an inquiry, which led me down a pathway which I explored. I'm not going to go for 15 minutes before I hate to tell you. And I think that what we are doing now, it's just really important to try things and to just build on what you're doing each day, trying a little bit more. You don't have to rush and do it all at once. And just try new things and don't let fear stop you. And also challenge your leadership if they aren't supporting the changes that we want to see for agency. Because if our leadership and our teachers are at odds, it's not going to happen. And you need that support, and we need to support you in that. And quite often we don't know what those challenges are going to be like until they actually happen. So we do have to be quite reactive to that and flexible. Sorry, I'm not going to go for 15 So that basically brings me to the end of my sabbatical. You can read it, and I hope that you get something from it. I know I did. So thank you very much.
Challenging, possibly confronting conversation and talk about your findings. It's a real game changer. It's really made me look at my practice. So I hope that the Simple Company will take away some really good ideas and through Janine's work. It's fascinating. Thank you, Janine. Give a small token of our appreciation for you. Now we're doing really well at the time, and just before we call up our next guest speaker, we've got some wonderful people coming around to put a bit of hot food on your table. And those of you who know me know I get straight to business, and of course I didn't do the health and safety check. Also about the toilets, there's toilets down the back behind the the kitchen area if you need to use them. And if we can just take a 5-minute break. Andy, I'll give you this chance now. You can talk to our audience and just say who you are. So Andy is live streaming at the moment, flicking between the cameras. And thank you. 5 minutes and then we get back into it.
Good afternoon. I've got my big hefty headphones on this afternoon, rather than some small ones. Like Sophie said earlier, my name is Andy. I am one of the support and cross-school leaders in the Auckland Central Community of Schools. And this is here. She's our lead and cross-school leader. So one of the things that I do is work alongside her and work with an Auckland Intermediate in order to improve outcomes for learners. In this case, specifically in relation to mathematics, and again, even more focused in relation to critical grouping. This is Rita, this is one of our in-school leaders, this is Ella, this is another cross-school leader. He's working with teacher agency at the moment. But of course, what you end up finding is no matter what initiative you're working with, they all end up kind of combining in some respect, which is fantastic. He's also our roving cameraman, as you can see there. So Sonia alluded to the fact that we are taking a bit of a 5-minute break at the moment. You won't have to put up with me for the entirety of those 5 minutes. I will switch back to a view. Obviously, you can pause it and you can come back because you may not want to watch others eating. But it is really exciting to be here and to hear both Janine, Irvine and Bobbie Hunter speaking. Bobbie Hunter will be coming up in a moment and she will be looking at that idea of mixed ability grouping. For those of you who aren't familiar with Bobbie Hunter, she's created a branch of mathematics, or at least a strategy or a pedagogical method, which is now called Bobbie Maths. And the idea is that in that mixed ability grouping and creating a mathematical community in which there's no longer just one expert, there's multiple experts, and the teachers are just one of those facilitators, one of those members of that community, then you actually see some critical achievements, critical progress. So while we're starting this students event, we are here at Newmarket School on Wednesday the 5th of November. It is currently just about 4:15. Not just after 4, so we're ambitious with that. But yeah, feel free to stick around, feel free to leave, depending on what you came here for. We're glad to have you here. We'll check it out. Thank you very much.
Ready to start again. I'll now pass you across to Belinda.
Thank you, Sonia. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Belinda Itchman. I'm ASL here at Newmarket School. Today it is my honour to introduce Dr. Bobbie Hunter, a senior lecturer and researcher in mathematics education. Professor. Bobbie has produced some groundbreaking research on how developing mathematics inquiry communities enhances the learning of Pacifica and Maori students. She originally developed the pedagogical approaches using the developing mathematics inquiry communities for her PhD, and since has overseen implementation of this in local schools across New Zealand. We are thoroughly looking forward to you sharing your insights and experiences with us, Bobbie. Take it away.
Thank you very much. No, I won't actually use the stand. But if you people see me sort of wobbling a little bit, about 18 months ago I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition out of the blue. And so part of that was that both my Achilles tendons, I had a bilateral rupture of the Achilles tendons. They just went. Right? So, you know, if you haven't got Achilles tendons, which I haven't got, balance is quite hard, because that's what holds you up. But despite that, before I knew I had this autoimmune condition, and before I knew that ruptured, I had decided that I wasn't going to be an old person and walk around like this. And then I read somewhere that if you walk around like that, you're going to die soon. So I made this decision that I was going to lift my feet and walk. And consequently, I did. And then when I went to a orthopedic surgeon to say I could see about getting them operated on, he said, but you walk on them, other people don't. He said, how come you can just walk like you do? I know, right? So I didn't want to die. And that was basically it. However, yeah, it sort of set me back. So, okay, I am a teacher. I am a teacher just like all of you. I've spent long years in the classroom. And I also come from a mixed background, so I have Cook Island heritage. I'm half Cook Island, half Irish, New Zealand born Irish. So for my Cook Island side, I come from the Dean family in Manahiki and the Kapuru family in Aitutaki, if anybody is here who knows those families. But if you land in Aitutaki at the airport, you're landing on our family land. So welcome if you do that. So why all my research has been, so I came out of the classroom in 2003, I finished doing a master's thesis. I followed a very typical route of what I think of as both gendered and Cook Island, in that I took a long route to get to complete a master's. So I did university work every year, finished a Bachelor of Education, then did a Bachelor of BA in Psychology while I was teaching, then did a postgraduate diploma in Education, then got up the courage to do a Master's in Education and Mathematics. Why mathematics? Not because it was my big thing, it was because I knew I could get a scholarship. And that's where funding. So anybody who wants to do a Master's, math, science, will get a scholarship. And then my supervisor said, why don't you go on and do a doctorate? And so in 2003, I took a job part-time at Massey University and went on and did a doctorate. So I did come straight from the classroom. And a lot of my doctorate was like an inquiry. It was exactly how I had taught for a long time. Lots of perceptions I had about the way children didn't learn, I was using in my classroom. So I didn't ever have your screened groups or anything in my classroom. But for probably 20 years, I hadn't used it. In reading, in anything actually, I didn't use those. And in mathematics, I certainly didn't. So, what made me decide to do that? It was the effect that had on me as a child. And I know that Janine talked about this, but I get even closer to this, and I think that we all have to look at it, we have to sit and think about this, and it's something called white privilege. And it's something we need to, as teachers, address, is that there are certain people who are privileged in our education system and certain people who are not. And colour of your skin is one of them, and there is no doubt about that. And I can tell you, even today, things absolutely, like just the other day on the teachers, on Facebook, on the teachers' website, somebody wrote a comment, has anybody heard about that brown maths gimmick? That was exactly what was written. And I thought, for goodness sake, this is a teacher writing a comment like that and labelling a really good program as though it doesn't belong to anybody but brown people. Now, when I completed my PhD, the Pacifica Ministry came to me and said, if we fund you, can you do some of the work you've been doing in some Pacifica schools? Because right at that time, there was somebody who had published something about a warrior gene. And the warrior gene was being promoted as the reason why our Pacifica and Māori students were failing. Right, that was one. The other one was Don Brash, of course, who did his good level of speech. So consequently, they came and said, now I started off and it was called Pacifica Success because we wanted to say, hey, these kids can be really successful, and they were. Then, as it got spread wider and wider, people then said, oh, we don't need that because we don't have enough Pacifica children in our class. Right? So we renamed it Developing Mathematical Inquiry Communities. And it is based on the best research internationally and nationally about what works in mathematics for children. That's actually what it is. So it's not something I invented. It changes all the time, but it draws on best practice. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about grouping today, and I'm going to be going back over some of what Janine talked about as well. So first of all, just think about this. You read that. Just imagine that, because that's the life of children starting at age 5. Just imagine if your diet was set at age 21. So why do teachers continue to use ability grouping? So I'm going to talk about something called ability grouping. I'm going to be talking about something called streamed. I'm going to talk about something called cross-grouping. I'm going to talk about something called strategy grouping. All of those are ability grouping. They are putting children into groups according to a perceived expectation of their ability. So people they say, oh, we don't use ability grouping, we cross-group. That's ability grouping. They say, we don't use ability grouping, we just put all the children who are in strategy level 4 in one group. That's ability grouping. All of that is ability grouping. Now, why do they do it? These are the sorts of things. I group into classes to allow students to learn at their own pace and to provide added support to those that are struggling or need a challenge. The answer to that is rubbish. That's not why you do it. This is the second one. This whole concept that advanced students need to move ahead because they will become bored with classroom activities. That's the other one that people will say. But what about my struggling ones? What about my advanced ones? Both of those, that's not the reason people use ability grouping. They use it because it suits the teacher. So, I just think this is a lovely picture of who are you. And endlessly, you go into classrooms. Like I was at a secondary school in the Hawke's Bay recently, where they had every class level was streamed, and they named them by cars. So the top class was a Lamborghini. What do you think the bottom class was? Yeah, a Mini. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, but we can laugh at that. However, it's a really damaging thing. Labelling is disabling. Right? This is this whole thing that we seem to have this whole thing about that, whatever you get on a test score is what you're going to end up being able to do in the future. Whatever you can do. Now, I personally think we need to stop as teachers using the word ability, and we need to start talking about capability. If you take out the word ability and you stop saying it, you no longer have an exit view, because if you start to say what is the capability of that child, you're talking about what they can do. Ability is saying, so are they low ability, are they high ability? It classifies children. Right? In mathematics, every child can do mathematics. Every child is capable of mathematics. The question is, just exactly what are they capable of doing? And what do I need to do next? So, how do you think students, this is our research, how do you think students like to be grouped? It's quite interesting when you actually talk to children about this and you ask them. So your low achieving children who are classified that, if you look at that, they, ability is only 6%. Mixed ability, you've got your 40% and your flexible, but mixed and flexible are about the same thing. They're really, you're talking about the same thing. Because there is no such thing as mixed or flexible. You are really saying, we are flexible as teachers. So therefore, how we're going to use grouping on a day, we're going to be flexible about that. So children, low achieving children, mostly want to be in those mixed ability groupings. Then you get mid-achieving. You've still got that mid-achieving group still wanting to be in that. Interestingly, when you look at the higher achieving students, you've now got the higher achieving students who are sort of swaying towards wanting to be in the ability grouping. It's very interesting when you ask Māori and Pacifica children though, because most of them don't want to be in that high achieving students group. And that's part of their cultural background. That is actually part of it, because we interviewed quite a number of children who had been in classes in high ability groups, interviewed them, asked them how they felt being in mixed ability groups the following year. And one little girl really touched a point for me. She said, there are children, I've come right through school with the same children. There are children in my class who I've never played with, who I've never talked with, and I've never worked with till this year because I was in the top group. She said, this year I found that everybody can do maths. Everybody has really good ideas. She went on like that. She said, and they're such good fun to play with. I can't believe I never played with them. She said, I've learned so much. So then I said to her, so what do you think it is that you've really learned? And she just looked at me and she said, I think I've learned to be a good person. That was what she said. Now what she's saying there is that actually being able to be in a group, to work together with everybody in a way is respectful. And that's what she's saying about being a good person. Now, this is teachers. We ask teachers, do you think that different expectations are created by ability grouping? Now, look what the teachers are saying. The teachers are saying mostly that they are. But they realise that those expectations are shaped by ability grouping. So what we're actually talking about, if you're talking about ability grouping, you're really talking about building an identity of exclusion. You fit really nicely in this whole thing that happens in this country in New Zealand. Our New Zealand people are very happy to say, I can't do mathematics. They say it very proudly. Oh, I've never been able to do mathematics. I'm no good at mathematics. They say things like that. They would never say, oh, I can't read. They would be ashamed to say that. We have a literary society. Other countries would look at people here and say, for goodness sake, what are you saying? Like I've spent time up in Singapore working in the ministry as a consultant for a little bit of time, off and on. And there I watched with fascination how important mathematics is to everybody in society, and how it would be an absolute shame or a point of shame to say that. However, here in this country, just the children in the top group are going to say they like mathematics. Just the children in the top group are going to say they're good at mathematics. So 1/4, if you've got 4 groups of your class, are going to actually be considered mathematicians. And the other 3/4 will see themselves as not good at mathematics. It's an interesting one, isn't it? And the other part of that is teacher expectations. And teacher expectations, everything that Janine said is right. everything it teaches. I was working with this teacher who was a really good maths teacher, and I'd been going into his room and videoing for days upon days. And one day I was looking at this particular video and I thought, what's going on in this? There was something really weird. He was talking. The kids were sitting there. He carried on talking. He said just simple things to them. They did what he told them. Nobody really responded. He asked questions. He answered the questions because they didn't. So it went. I said to him the next day, I want you to look at this footage. I said, I want you to look at it. Tell me what's going on. And why is this happening? He looked at it and he said, oh, that's my bottom group. They never talk. So I said, who was doing all the work there? And he said, well, I hope they were. And I said, hang on, you watch it and you listen. Who's doing the work? And then he laughed and he said, I am. He said, I'm asking the questions and I'm answering them. That he was stunned. That was how that lesson went with those children. And that would be how it went every time. It was just that we had that piece of footage. Compared to how he worked the day before with a different group. Where the children had talked, they had a been student voice. He had framed it in such a way that they were positioned as not being capable. And therefore, that's what was going on. So, here's just a little excerpt of what a student said to us. Why do you need to learn maths? This little 10-year-old said, to get better. But I don't get better. I've done maths for years and I don't get better. So we said, so how will maths help you in the future? To count money, to go to the shop, not for a job, because I can't do maths. Now that child was not in the bottom group. She wasn't in the top group. Now that is that if you talk to those children about mathematics, this is the kind of thing that they have a hopeless feeling about it. We're never going to be able to do it, they can't do it. They have learned that only some people can do maths and some can't, and the other can't. And they can grow up to be the New Zealanders that say, I never could do maths, I was hopeless. So, what are the long-term effects of streaming? So this is 2 studies. Everybody must have heard of Jo Bowler. So Jo Bowler did her original doctoral research in 2 schools in England. In the first school, in Phoenix Park School, they had no grouping, no fixed or streamed grouping. The students did high-level challenging problems every day. That's how it worked. They put themselves into groups, or the teachers put them into groups, but they were mixed. There was no such thing as ability. When Jo was in that and doing her observations, quite often the work looked quite chaotic. It was noisy. Sometimes the high school adolescent students would be off task, then go back on task. At Amber Hill, the children were streamed by ability. They were given very carefully selected work to match their ability. They were scaffolded and taught from the front by a teacher, almost like a high school maths lesson here in New Zealand, which is my privilege of seeing endlessly at the moment. And at the end, Jo followed them over a number of years. Then they sat whatever they said in England, the final tests that they do. Which students did the best? Of course, the children from Phoenix Park did. Way out. And yet, Amber Hill students looked like they had the best maths tuition possible. Whereas Phoenix Park appeared to have this chaotic. The Phoenix Park students way out the Amber Hill children, mainly because when the exam problems came at them, they were flexible and able to cope with them. They were ready for something different. Whereas the Amber Hill students all said, but they weren't the problems that we were taught or what we expected. How many times have you read that in the media in New Zealand? Because that is something that happens every year. Here, with our NCEA, you always have a media thing about children crying because their teachers didn't teach them that problems that they were going to get in NCEA. And a couple of years ago, we were a group of problems where we had exactly that. And I happened to be down in Irvine in Irvine, and there they've been doing our maths for about 4 or 5 years. So they chucked these problems at those children. They did them. The exact problems that the year 10s were weeping about because they weren't what they expected. Why could those children at OT do them? 2 reasons. One, they were working in a group, right? A mixed ability group, and the other was they were flexible and were used to working together and having anything come at them. So what happened with these students? The adults, Jo Bobbie has gone back and interviewed these people at age 30. So she's tracked them since high school. She interviewed them and talked to them about their relationship with mathematics. The adults from Phoenix Park School developed adaptive expertise that supported an active, capable relationship with mathematics in their adult life. They had carried on liking mathematics, doing mathematics. But Amber Hill adults communicated a less active stance towards mathematics. They dismissed most of school mathematics as an irrelevance to their work and their lives. How many times in New Zealand do we hear people say, oh, I did algebra at school, never learned anything, don't know how to use it. Or all that other maths that we did in high school, what was the point? Never learned to do the maths that we need to do. We hear that all the time. Why? I'm just throwing it out there. Why? Now, these are the top group. These are children who had come from a top group. This is their reflection. And this is coming from, this is a really good article, this one here, the blue table means you don't have a clue. You see, what I'm putting up there is that even though that 50% of those students in the top 30 were saying yes, we'd rather be in the top group, actually there's tremendous pressure on them as well. They are the ones that feel the pressure all the time to maintain where they are. Sorry, did you hear that? No. Okay. So, I just think this gives me a chilling feeling. This is a chilling outcome. If you think 88% of children placed into ability groups at age 4, and this is in England, remain in the same grouping until they leave school. To me, that divides the work of school. Why do children go to school to stay where they ever were and come out thinking they know nothing? What's the purpose? As well, what about our basic knowledge about child development and learning? Everybody learns at a different rate. Maths is not about something that you do. There is no such thing as going from there to there to there to there. That's old-fashioned. Maths is about connecting the dots. It's about thinking, I know that bit, and I know that bit, and I know that bit, and I can put it together. That's what maths is about, right? It's having opportunities to participate in a wide range of activities that are going to allow you to connect the dots. But when your opportunities are reduced to very minimal, then you can never connect the dots. So children develop at different rates, and they have different interests and strengths and dispositions at various stages of their development. Right? They change. So why would we keep children in a group? And yet, if you use ability grouping, I'll lay a bet that the children who are in the bottom group have been there since just about when they started school. Unfortunately for me, they are also quite frequently Māori and Pacifica. That's the other one that absolutely hits me, and I find that a challenging outcome as well. But that's who's put there. And why? Because I know Pacifica people and Māori are very clever at mathematics. However, they are privileged in the schooling system, so they're positioned there. So what should be the goals of schools? We should be providing stimulating environments for all children, environments in which children's interests can be piqued and nurtured, with teachers who are able to recognise, cultivate and develop the potential that children show at different times and in different areas. That's what they come to school for, not to be put into a little box. So why is streaming a problem? I'll just let you read that. In the 2016 OECD results were actually more damning in mathematics for New Zealand, were much more damning. In fact, in those results, New Zealand had not actually gone backwards, but they had not gone forwards, and every other country jumped over us. And New Zealand is named in that 2016 OECD report is the country with the most disparity between the cans and the can-offs, and that is because of our ability grouping. So that's what we've got currently sitting on, and I think that, that's what they're doing, and it is because, exactly like Janine said, why do teachers use grouping? Because that's what you're told to. Why do you use grouping? Because that's what you were taught. Why do you use grouping? Because that's what everybody else does. Why do you use ability grouping? Because you are told you have to in your planning. Why do you use ability grouping? Because parents want their child to be in the top group. Right? All these sorts of reasons. Which of those tell you why you use ability grouping for a child? That's the bit that's missing. So, classroom arrangements, I'm saying that we need to move to more use of flexible, strength-based groupings. So, if I talk a little bit about the work that we do, we actually, and it's a journey, it's a 3-year journey to become a teacher that can actually watch a group of children struggle and not step in and tell them what to do. It's a 3-year journey to be a teacher that can give a really high-level challenging problem and realise, as soon as you've given it, that nobody sitting down there has an in. And stop and relax and say, they'll get it. I'm not going to give them an in. They'll struggle. They'll be challenged. And yes, they might come back at you, but ultimately they will be really glad that you allowed them to do that. That's a 3-year journey to pick those jobs. But if every teacher in New Zealand gave every class a high-level challenging maths problem every single day, our maths results would instantly go up. Because currently we have all these myths floating around about making sure that children can do whatever we put in front of them, making sure that they can solve it so they'll feel good about themselves, making sure that they can solve the problem so they think maths is fun. Those are myths. Actually, children think maths are fun when the problem is hard and challenging and they have to work to beat it. So it drives me crazy when people talk about doing that growth mindset. Right? And then you go into the room and the kids are working on a worksheet. I don't know where they're going, because there's only one answer. You get it wrong or you get it right. Maybe it's because you smile when you get it wrong. I don't know. I certainly don't think that's growth mindset. I think growth mindset is when you deliberately give them something really hard and challenging. Like we say in our schools, because we work so much in the DSL 1A schools, and so when we say, if they're at curriculum level, if they're in year 6, they should be at curriculum level 3 and going to curriculum level 4, so you shouldn't give them any problems below that. They should be pitched to that level. If you've got like in your schools here, if you've got year 0s and 1s in our schools, we expect those children by the end of the year to be part-whole counters. That's it. So we say, right, as soon as they can count, you've got to get into advanced counting and then onto part-whole thinking. So you've got to give them problems that are pitched at that level. Right? The number, so no more of us counting to 20 and counting backwards to 20. Count from 120 to 140. No? Expose them, expose them, expose them. So that's number one, is give them really good hard level problems. Teacher knowledge is a good one. So Janine was talking about teacher knowledge. If you're giving them a hard level problem, the thing that you've got to do for that, and this is why teachers don't give hard level problems, is because they themselves are afraid about being able to work out what the children are going to do. Give them a hard level problem. So a good example of this, I was doing some work in a school just recently with the 3, 4, 5s, and I'd said to them, do something like, something that where they have to multiply something like 29 by 36, but it was in a problem. What sorts of things, what ways are children going to solve that? What are all the ways? So what the teachers did was wrote down really quickly all the different ways they could see them. My next question was, so how do you think, or what do you think is the knowledge that children will need to either be able to do that or to learn to do it? So for instance, if they're multiplying by 29 and then they get 30, and then they multiply the 37 by 30, and then take off one group of 37, right? What knowledge do they need to know? What knowledge do children need to know to be able to do that? Or, yeah. Who can suggest what knowledge?
Basic facts.
So basic facts, what do you mean?
Simple basic facts. Then they can work on
No, just all I'm asking though is, okay, they've actually chosen to make the 29 30, and now they're multiplying the 37 by 30, and then they're going to take a group off. So they actually, that's one way they might do it. To be able to do that, what knowledge have they got? What do they know? Right? Yeah, groups of. Now quite often, when I say that in the school, people will say, oh, they've got to tidy up. Tidy up what? Get a broom and sweep the floor? That's rubbish. That's numeracy. Get rid of it. All those terms. Let's get to maths. What do they really need to know? It's groups of. But what is it the groups of? What's the knowledge they need to know? The groups of what? Yeah, 10. It's base 10. That's exactly what they need to know, is what base 10 is. And so here I'm just going to talk about this. If you're going to be teaching children that problem, and you think to yourself, okay, that's one way they're going to do it, so therefore they need to know that why make it 30? What's the reason? And you're not allowed to say easy, you've got to say why. Yeah, absolutely. So, but also there's one step further than that. When you multiply by 10, what happens to the place value? Yeah, I saw people doing it. Moves. That's another thing they need to know. What happens when you there's none of this nonsense if I add a zero. Right? What actually really happens? Right? So what happens is, so what I'm talking about here is getting the knowledge of what is in a problem or in the maths in your head. Right? This is one thing. And the other one, of course, is that whole concept of if you've added on one, in fact, if you made it something like $29 and you're buying some 37 things that each cost $29, you've actually added $1 on for every one of those 37 things, haven't you? So now you've got to take that $37 back off again, because that's what you've done. Now that's proportional reasoning. They're going to have to reason that one out to be able to do that. The other, so it is place value. Now, one of the things Janine was talking about was teaching, using groups for direct teaching or procedures or things like that. If you do that, you give the children a mixed message. You either have mixed ability grouping and you use it to teach the children things like place value. Because in that lesson, that's what they should be learning. That's your big maths idea. You know what it is. That's what's going to come out. You're going to connect that at the end. But if you sit children down and you say, right, you're in the group that's going to be doing such and such in place value, you've gone back to giving them a message. I'm the teacher, this is what you know. Plus, there is no transfer from sitting children down and teaching them place value with place value blocks to them actually being able to do that multiplication. There is transfer if you pull the place value blocks out and show them how it moves one place to the left. You do it in the lesson, not out of the lesson. So there should not be any teaching of strategies before a lesson. They should come up with these strategies and you're ready for them because you've prepared. You've actually looked at the problem and thought, what are all the ways that the children are going to come up with? And what do they need to know to be able to come up with those things? Now, every child coming into a group, this is mixed ability grouping, so every child coming into the group is not going to have the same knowledge. They're all going to have different knowledge. So I've got up there group-worthy tasks, which involve collaborative practices. Group-worthy tasks are tasks that can only be solved if 4 minds, or total with younger children, but 4 with older children, if 4 minds are working on it and they're contributing. They can't be solved by somebody sitting alone. It's not a group-worthy task. If one child can sit there and say, oh, I know the answer, it's such and such. Right? If a child's sitting there saying that, it's not group-worthy. Right? Make it harder. Push up. Right? That's what a group-worthy task is. But the group-worthy task, at the same time, you've got to think, so why am I giving them this task? What are they going to learn from it? What big maths ideas are going to come out of this? And you're going to be teaching things like place value as part of that lesson. So if you were asking a younger group of children to do something like add 18 plus 7, right? And somebody goes, oh, I'm going to go 20 plus 5. That would be an opportune time to pull out the tens frames and say, oh, this is what you did. And model with the tens frame so they can see that you're sliding to make the 20 and then the 5. Which exposes everybody to the concept of going from advanced counting to part-whole thinking. Now, every child though coming in is not going to learn coming knowing the same, so you need to have a low floor everybody can enter and a high ceiling. Okay? So you've got a low floor, high ceiling. High ceiling means everybody can come in. There is room for everybody to go out at their own level. So there is no longer space in our maths classrooms to be standing and saying to them, okay, everybody is going to learn to do count backwards by whatever, or solve a problem by whatever. There's no space for that, because every child is coming in with what they know, and they are going to go out knowing something new, but not the same as everybody else. That's hard, isn't it? That's a challenge. But that's what mixed ability grouping is about, is actually getting rid of the idea that I want everybody in my class to know how to do such and such. I want to know what everybody is capable of doing, and I want to show their capabilities today to another level. Big challenge. Is it 15? Did that sign say 15? Oh. Okay, so I'm just put up here one way of actually getting your grouping going. Okay? And this is just by this whole concept of visibly randomised grouping. This is for older children. That when you use visibly randomised grouping, it has to be obvious that you have no reason for putting children together in groups. Because when you, quite often teachers, and we talk about this too, we talk in our work about social grouping or strength-based grouping. We say children should never be choosing what group they're in. You know, that there should never be an opportunity for children to sit in your classroom and say, oh, I'm going to work with so-and-so. Right? There's not space for that. I'm talking about maths. They should be in a group where they are slightly uncomfortable, because then they're going to work harder and better. Right? That's the reality of it all. Now, this is just this whole idea that if every day you think about changing the groups, literally in my own classroom, I just used to go, you. I now go into classrooms and I don't know the children at all, and I still go, you. Usually mixing up boys and girls and things like that. These are things that I've seen. Deck of cards, where everybody was given a card and then all the fours worked together. That was it. Right? Allocated numbers for all these things, I've seen that as well. I've seen the interactive whiteboard with the grid system, and the teachers push them and it's randomly sorted them. I've seen photographs where the teachers shuffled them and the kids have come in and gone, and they're in the groups and they go inside of their groups. Right? Just anything. But for me, you works. Right? And I can see that I've got nothing in it. Why? Because students become agreeable to work in any group. That's why you need to be doing it. They'll push back to begin, but then they give up. You get rid of the social barriers within the classroom by knowing that at some stage you're going to have to work with anybody in the class. Too bad. There's also an increase in the mobility of knowledge between students, because when students have worked with another student the day before and you're using problems that, and this is another thing about maths, you should use problems, not a problem, but you should use a good hard problem one day, a similar problem the next, a similar problem, until it becomes part of what they can do. You get this mobilisation of knowledge. And the children who, on one day, a child comes in and it's a child who may not have high status in the room, but they come up with something really interesting. On that day, on the next day, if that child's in another group, they come forward with their thinking, everybody looks at them and thinks, oh, okay, you're coming through. We generally, in our work and in our schools, we generally tell teachers from about year 3 upwards to have half the class one day and half the other day. Just split them. Do the same problem the first day as the second day, different group. And that's simply because you can't manage the talk of 30 children. So it's easier, but you can slide some children backwards and forwards. You can have the same children for a couple of days. You can pick out 3 or 4. In the junior classrooms, we say put them in pairs and start from new entrants. No? Don't think that you have to teach them all the counting backwards. Give them little problems immediately, right? But do longer of the knowledge type activities, beforehand as a warm-up. There's a decrease in reliance on the teachers for answers, and this is the whole thing. You don't want to be the fountain of all knowledge. There's an increase in the reliance on co-constructed intra and intergroup answers. So this whole business, when children are working together, quite often if somebody looks across, they'll go, oh look, they're cheating, they're looking at our work. In classrooms where this is used, you don't get that. They realise that we're all in this together. And there's an increase in both enthusiasm for maths class and engagement in tasks. This is just one student. This is just one student who was observed trying to undermine the system. This is why randomised grouping is important for some kids, so they can see you're not picking on them. And this is just another one. This is a little girl who tried to switch groups. It's interesting, that one is not about being stuck there forever. Yeah, so, yeah. And I talked about that intra-group collaboration. Members of a group going out to other groups to borrow an idea to bring back to their group. I always say, if you're working in maths and you've got half of the class, keep them close to you so that they can actually cross-fertilise with the thinking that's going on. If you let them spread out around the room, the noise rises, right? Because they're talking and all the rest are talking. So you want the group that are doing practice, the half doing practice, to be doing that absolutely quietly. They can be working with other people, but quietly. But your group is down on the floor with you all close on tables, so you get cross-fertilisation. And then you've also got this idea that you can actually physically tell them, go over there and have a look and see what they did. See whether you can get some clues from what they did. And then when you get this different solution or different pathway, go and debate it. Just go and see what they did. Do some comparisons. And I'll just let you read this. So a good rule to have is when you've got your group of 4 or your group of 2 talking, if any child asks you as the teacher a question, the rule is that you ask them, did your group agree that your whole group is stuck and you need to ask me? Otherwise go back to your group. Because you've always got those children that come up when you walk past, they go, can you help me, can you help me? When actually, no, the group's need to go back. And so that's what I'm saying there. Teachers need to stop asking questions, and students need to stop asking teacher questions. Let the students ask the questions. Teach them how to ask questions of each other. This is just an observation that So can you see what the teacher's trying to do there? So I've just been talking about non-strategic groupings and what happens. So they're agreeable to work in any group. You eliminate social barriers. Mobility of knowledge. Reliance on the teacher goes down. Reliance on groups goes up. Engagement in class goes up, and enthusiasm, and you're getting both educational and social outcomes, and that's what you're looking for. And going back to Bowler's work, I just thought you could read that. And while it's very easy to say that it closes the achievement disparities between ethnic groups, you also have to look at values, the values of different people, different students, and how those values work in the classroom in terms of whether it is actually acceptable to ask the teacher a question or challenge somebody, and then you have to give them a voice to develop that. This is just what some of our teachers have said. And this is what students have said. So I've just got up here a comparison between direct instruction and mathematical inquiry communities, and just that whole ability grouping according to narrow definitions against multiple strengths grouping. Now, this is your deficit thinking, puts onus of failure with the students. It's easy when you use the word ability to talk about my low students and they're not going to learn that, or it's going to be hard for them. It puts it on them. Actually, it's about you. You know, if a child in your classroom is not succeeding, you need to be saying, what is it that I'm doing? Not what is it that they're doing. And so that's the other side of that, is that you've got to be thinking that. Then the direct instruction puts emphasis on speed, memorisation, procedural fluency, whereas we don't care about that. We want deep, rich conceptual understanding. And indirect instruction, you've got students who are excluded from learning experiences, and students are withdrawn for remediation or extension. Both are damaging. All students included in the learning experience. Students are supported, challenged, and extended. And I'm just going to end with this. Let's show the song, please.
Everybody can stand up. Let's reach up.
Me take Bobbie, for sharing this with us this afternoon. Certainly, for me, I have taken a lot from this, lots to think about, and one of the things that sits in my mind when you first started was talking about ability grouping and capability, and that is something that certainly that I think a lot about, and a lot of reflection within our school and within our team. We appreciate the time you've given us today, and on behalf of everyone, I would like to present you with a small aroa. Kia orana, e kia manawea, as you return to your family. Thank you everyone for joining us in this interesting afternoon. Today, we have heard from two of our colleagues who have shared the expertise in their field. We have much to take away, discuss and reflect, and this afternoon was about everyone coming together in the ACOS schools, sharing a common interest in mathematics. I'm now going to pass over to Belinda to say a couple words.
First, before Belinda comes through, thank you, Belinda, I'd like to give a shout out to the Nia family who helped us with our decorations and with protocol. So a shout out to you, Tabitha, and to Antoine and to Itua. Thank you so much for your help. Almost as in charge of my team. And I also want to give a shout out to the Across School Initiative members in my team. Could they please stand up? We've got Andy down the back there, he was on the live stream. We've got Narsina here from Pāngarau. We've got Andy here from A&I who looked after our guests. We've got Nikki and Belinda here from Newmarket School. And we're down in the far corner over there, we've got Virginia who is our champion. We've got Huda who's walking around taking photos. And I know I've asked her to please help with she'll write a reflection about the afternoon. So already this live stream is on our blog. You can go and have a look at it. And I thank everyone for the afternoon. You can now sit down. I'll pass you to Belinda.
Thank you, Sonia. Well, I'd like to just reiterate the great thanks for Bobbie and Janine. Thank you. That was absolutely stunning and thought-provoking and something for us all to consider with deep appreciation. Thank you, everybody. You may go when I finish talking, and just leave everything on the tables. We will pack things up. Just take care as you leave the car park. If you could please help with the chairs, we have these wonderful little trolley things that is a bit of an intelligence test to work out how to put the chairs on them. So, these. So, if you could put the chairs on those, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And finally, just one more from me is that when you come to Newmarket School, you're known for the food. And I just want to give a shout out to Gail down the back there who has worked really hard to put on our afternoon tea for us. And of course, we've got Wendy Cofer. Wendy, can you please stand up? Wendy always lets me go ahead with some of my mad ideas. As those of you who know me, I do have a few mad ones, but they just work. So thank you, Wendy. And Jill, stand up. Jill is our lead principal in the ACOS group, and Jill put the challenge out to me to live stream today. So thank you, Jill, for the challenge. Don't ask me again. And yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Now, what we would ask from you is that if you, hopefully from the afternoon, you've got a clear idea about what flexible grouping is, what mixed ability grouping is. We know we're still on a journey. And if you can come up with a one-page summary of the speakers this afternoon and take a screenshot, send it to me, I'm going to start to curate some slides. Okay, about that. I think it is, you don't just go away and have a holiday, but go back and reflect. And thank you everyone for your attendance, and please don't forget our cheers. Selfie.
Bobbie, please, for a photo. Janine, for a photo.
I'm going to head up for a photo in a moment, but there you have it. It is our afternoon. Absolutely experts in the field. I'm glad that you came to join us, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.